Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we're super happy to have you here. And if you've been listening and enjoying for a while, I would be super grateful if you would please take a moment to give us a review on Apple Podcasts. It's one of the best and simplest ways to pay it forward and help others find the show so that they too can tap into the powerful perspectives and positive vibrations we are collectively emanating. The other unique and magical way to share this show is by sending any friends you think would benefit from listening to this podcast our Game with the Universe link at positivehead.com/game. Also listed in the show notes, which will serve them up a quote-unquote random episode when they click it. Just instruct them before clicking the link to close their eyes for a moment and sincerely ask the universe to cue up the episode that contains the insight and perspectives that they most need to hear at this point in their life journey, and then click to listen to whatever episode is synchronistically served up to them. I have heard time and time again from people about the incredible results they received playing the game. So just tell your friends magical results are guaranteed or their karma back.
All right, all you positive heads, welcome one and all. I am super excited that you've joined me on this magical today, where today is an extra especially magical today because I brought my partner, Brian Anthony, along with me today. So he is a very magical being, and I thought that we would talk about New Earth Visionaries today. Brian, what do you have to say about this collective, everyone listening here? We are all New Earth Visionaries. So what do we have to talk about this entire idea?
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here. It's been a while, P-Head family. I'm very happy to be back to speak with you all. And yeah, I felt compelled to come here and talk with you all because I actually recently had a meditation that felt like I was getting a little bit more collective information than I normally do. And there was this sense of urgency, let's say, that I was downloading some bits and pieces around the importance of New Earth Visionaries really getting clear about their mission and being able to be supported and get support and doing what is necessary to really step up to their mission in a big way. I got some glimpses, like I was getting these visions of just how the energies present right now are both really supportive to this, and the underlying feeling, like my guides, it felt like they were saying to me, and also it felt like it was a collective message that it's like, hey, I mean, it's really game time now. It's really time for people to come online and get focused on their path.
100% it's time. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because the message that has been coming through me over the last few years has been, the time is coming. We're approaching this time. The time is now for everyone to get in line. And as the years have passed, it's like becoming more and more the time is now. And it's always been now. It's always now. It's always happening now. But we are really on this precipice right now. And there's many light workers who are still teetering on this directional choice that we're all here making. And this is why we're all so important right now. We've all come with this mission. So many of us feel it. We have a purpose. We have a mission, no matter what that is. But that does involve helping to create and bring in this new vibration that we're all existing in already, but helping to solidify it.
Absolutely. Yeah, very well said. There's a feeling that I'm getting more and more around the necessity of these New Earth Visionaries stepping onto their path as being not just vibrational in nature, but really like building the new structures, like the other word that's been coming to me is like architects, you know, the architecture of the new earth, and doing so by taking that leap, for example, out of like the 9 to 5 or just out of the old paradigm and into the new paradigm, stepping into the path of their gifts. Like I've been using this term like multidimensional superpowers, right? Like, and this is really the mind, body, spirit, those 3 layers of abilities that we have, the 3 layers that we can find certain abilities, and being able to hone those, discover those, figure out how we can serve people in this way. I am seeing kind of a crumbling of like modalities to a certain degree, where I still feel that there's an importance to say like study and to learn, to learn from other people who are experienced. And like, as you know, I've spent the last several years doing voice coaching, but what's been happening is that over the last, that whole time, but especially recently, what's happening is the people that are coming to me are very obviously just on that like verge of a big breakthrough and really needing to find their gifts and be able to use their experience, their gifts, their passion, their skills, synthesize those into a path that is really serving humanity in a big way. 100%. And so that's that courage to take that leap is the catalyst that I feel like is so needed right now. The vision that I also got in this meditation was just how the structures that feel confining right now to us as a society, whatever those are not going to be changed through the kind of the old paradigm way. Like, for example, anything that we might find tyrannical in nature, yes, there can be some benefit of us like collectively speaking up and using our voices, but like marching in the streets and like clashing in like, you know, a physical 3D way that's like the old paradigm way to like change these things. And the vision that I got was the more that we as New Earth Visionaries create these systems that then attract more people to become a part of them, then the older systems have to change.
Absolutely. Yes, they have to. And we've seen this throughout history, that anytime something better is created, then the old systems just have to kind of follow along. And yeah, we all know too, and we talk about this a lot on the show, that we have to be the change that we want to see in the world. We have to create those foundations for ourselves and within our community to actually live that change every single day, be that energy, and create our foundations around that energy. And I want to go back to what you said about all these different modalities and all the different study that we do, because this is what happens when we start our journey, when we go along our journey, and it doesn't matter how long it takes. So many of us want to study and learn more and more and more. And that often means picking up all different kinds of modalities. And I think that that's really important, because what we do along the way is pick up the things that resonate with us and then leave the rest. And we actually create our own thing that works for us. That is so important for each one of us to do, to go out there and to continue learning, to continue seeking. And then you can find your way and use that way to solidify this foundation that you've built.
Yeah, that's really well said. In my own personal experience, I did study a modality for my sound healing practice. I studied with a gentleman named Fabio Maman, and it was really beautiful. It was totally necessary for me because it was something that introduced me to a structure. It introduced me for the first time really in my life to a group of people that spoke my language, spoke about spirituality in the way that resonated and really felt like family. And my experience with that was, I ended up learning that the modality wasn't what I was there for. It was the the introduction to my own intuitive processes and in the introduction to that realm that really opened up those doors.
Exactly.
And the reason I bring up the modalities too is that like I am finding that there are people out there that are also in that kind of seeking phase, and it's almost kind of like me after high school. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I was being told I should go to college. So I kind of like wandered my way into a community college and it didn't resonate, and I didn't do well as a result. And I'm finding that the people that I work with and more people that I talk to are in their spiritual awakening, and they're kind of wandering their way into a modality and feeling a little bit like there's a call to a deeper level of their intuition initially. And I just wanted to speak to that because I want to honor that for people too, because that is who I am now serving, really. That's what's been happening. The people that are coming to me are those who are in that phase of awakening and wanting to discover their gifts and are like, well, I know that I resonate with, say, yoga or something, so I guess I'll just take this teacher training. And there's kind of a level of, I feel like I'm just going through the motions, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm honoring like all the paths and processes that have led there. And I really want to speak in this whole talk here to any new Earth visionary that has gone through the path of studying and has maybe done the modalities, or maybe you're newer to that path and discovering things. And if you're feeling a sense of stagnation, if you're feeling a sense of like something greater that you want to discover about yourself and your process, you're not alone. And there is an opportunity, I think, there for you to really dive into your own internal and intuitive process there and discover your own superpowers, discover how you can really connect with Source in a direct way to serve people along with the skills and the passion and the experience that you have.
And that is really what it's all about, right? We're all creating our own way. We all came here as individuals to do things in this individual way, in the way that we want to do it, following our own passions, our own desires, and what lights us up inside. And that's going to be different for everyone. And so it's so wonderful. For me, I think it's great to pick up all these different pieces and then to hone it all in within yourself and create whatever it is that you want to create for you. And a lot of times that takes a little study, that can take a little practice and a little guidance.
Absolutely. Yeah, very well said. I know I keep saying that, but you just say things so well.
Well, thanks.
I know why you're one of the hosts of this podcast.
Oh, well, thank you, man.
It's confirmed.
Thanks.
You're beautiful, by the way. I just thought I'd let you know that on air.
You guys, we're stuck in our little recording closet right here, so we got to have our mics like within, I don't know, like 2 feet of one another, and we're staring at each other.
Staring in each other's eyes while we're doing this. Yeah, and I'm really, right now I'm just really fired up about this because I am, like, for me, I'm really excited about where we're at as a human race. And I know that might sound privileged to some people, or whatever the terminology might be. I personally feel like it's a perspective thing. I mean, I've personally kind of disconnected from so much of what's going on in the wider world because I know that my main opportunity is to affect those that I'm directly in contact with. And I know down to my bones that the change that is happening and that is going to happen and that is necessary in this world is with each individual.
Yes.
And
it's an internal thing. It's not an external thing. It's always an internal thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because as we align with our internal powers, as we align with our pathway from the inside out, that's what leads to all the connections and all the synchronicities. And I can't tell you how many synchronicities I have now because they're kind of just it's just happening all the time.
Continual all day long.
And there seems to be an increase too, and this is one more thing I wanted to speak to, is that I have been in direct contact with planet Earth for some time. She's part of my meditations. I speak to her when I'm out in nature and in my meditations, and one of the things that's been coming up recently is that she is providing New Earth missionaries with all the resources necessary right now to help build this new Earth. Like the resources, the land, and the money. And this is an interesting point I wanted to speak to, because I know that money is like it's always a big topic in our society. But I've really been studying the concept of wealth, and really from the esoteric, from the energetic principles, from the mystery school perspective of what it means to gain wealth and to make money. And I also had a meditation the other day where I connected with the energy of money. And I really wanted to share this because what I saw was, first of all, it was like a female form that came to me. And I had no intention or expectation to connect with this energy during this meditation. It was totally unrelated to what I was meditating about, at least at first. And what I saw was kind of sad. It brought a tear to my eye, because here's this spirit that, yes, while man-made, is still connected to the earth, because she is an energy that's used to exchange the resources that we use to build the things around us, to make lives for ourselves. And I saw if I were to actually describe it in detail, it'd be pretty horrific, because I just saw all the ways that she's been abused and misused. And she spoke to me directly, saying I want to help build a new earth. And whatever happens with our money system, whether it changes completely into whatever it might be, digital currency, whatever it is, there's still an energy that's connected to the earth there. And I think that's something to remember and understand, that we as New Earth Visionaries have an opportunity to use our current system in order to help build this new architecture. And I know that there's a lot of us out there that cringe when we think about certain things like finances and how the system was created. And I just want to remind us that we have such a huge power within us and as a collective to transmute this system by utilizing it for a greater good, for building this new earth paradigm.
Yeah, absolutely. Because just like magic, there's white magic and there's black magic, right? It's energy, and how you're using it, that determines its energetic pathway, right? Its focus determines its pathway. And so money isn't bad. It's how we use it that can be either detrimental or beneficial to us. And something that you reminded me of when you were talking about this, I learned when I was in Hawaii just a few weeks ago. And when you watch a luau, oftentimes the host in between the different dances will explain the dance, will explain the tradition, and talk about different Hawaiian words and the basis of the language. And of course, I don't remember the word because I'm not very good at language. It's a little embarrassing, but I don't remember language all that well, other language besides the one I know. Regardless, the point is what's important. In the Hawaiian language, there isn't really a money for rich, like in the way that we have it, like financially rich. They don't have a word for that. Their word for rich really means abundance. Abundance in community, in resources, in water, in food, in land, right? And that is what Mother Earth would prefer for us to look at it like, right? To have this kind of perspective towards our own richness. We are rich when we have our community around us. We are rich when we have clean air to breathe and clean water to drink and yummy, delicious, fresh food. If you take all that away, we got nothing. Got nothing. All the money in the world won't save you if you don't have that, right? And so it's just a perspective shift.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up. It's interesting. I've been reading this book called The Science of Getting Rich. And it's actually, so if anyone here remembers the book or the movie The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, she says in like the movie, she's like, and then a friend gave me a book and this like changed my life. This is the book. And I'm bringing it up because it is really interesting because it's the science of getting rich, but the science is all about creating the abundant mindset in all areas of life, creating the opportunity for gratitude at every turn, no matter what's going on. And I actually really appreciate this book because I know that The Secret and some of the stuff in the Wake kind of gets a bad rap because I do feel like it maybe skipped over some components when it comes to the law of attraction, some things to keep in mind when we're actually working with that energy and that law. That being said, this book really honed in like on what you're talking about, and it's like really if you want to get rich, you have to start doing it in all the areas of your life, like wherever you're at. If you're in a crappy job right now, like even if it's hard, like show up and do it the best you can every day, and
being grateful to have a job,
being grateful for it. Interacting with the people that you come across throughout your job or throughout your day in a way that gives them the impression of increase or upliftment, like always doing your best to do that, and also being grateful for those relationships and these like primary elements that create that richness within and the richness without is what creates the richness of then the resources and the abundance, anything that might come to us, whether it's money or relationships, business partnerships, whatever it might be, anything that we need to be supported on our path. So I love that you shared that with that story, because I mean the indigenous wisdoms. I just spoke to Ron Interpreter, who's a Navajo man locally, and similar perspective on what it means to be abundant and what it means to create abundance in the community. So yeah, I appreciate you sharing that.
And what I also want to add there, when you said about being in a crappy job, if you are listening to this podcast, you are a light worker. There's a reason why you're in that crappy job. You're spreading light to everyone there who needs a little bit of it. And so for right now, in this little piece of time, that's your job. And that's great and wonderful, because without you there, they wouldn't have this example. And so it's really important to kind of just go with all of these different flows that we have in our life, because it's all meaningful and relevant and divine.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much. That actually reminds me of a story, just a real brief one, that when I discovered my sound healing practice, I was working at a place called build.com, and it was this awful like phone sales job. And inside, no windows. I mean, I think we had like skylights, but it was like computers all around you, swimming in EMF and whatever. Right. And I studied abroad. I went to Switzerland for 2 summers in a row for a couple of weeks. And the first summer I did that, I was in that job, and I came back, and like I walked into that place, and literally the next day I like put in my 2 weeks. But what was interesting about that though, however, was I even before that time, I was kind of the different one, because I was in a spiritual practice and a spiritual seeking phase, and I was a hippie, like compared to other people, whatever you might want to call it, or whatever they might have called it, or more accurately, what I perceived they were going to call me if I was more myself around them. I would not allow myself to really be that person there, and I kind of fell into trying to meet them where they were at, and in the last 2 weeks I was there, I remember I was walking in the door with my sound healing book, and there was this guy, Andrew, who's like, "Hey, what's that?" And I tried to give him like a filtered answer, like to not tell him exactly what it was, because I thought he might think it's too hippy dippy. You know, he was one of the guys who did sales for like our contractor accounts. And so I thought, he's talking to contractors all day. He's not going to want to talk about this. But I gave him enough information about what it was that it really sparked his interest. And all of a sudden we're having this amazing conversation, and he ended up being someone that was really highly impacted by our interaction, not just then, but in the weeks and even after I left there. We ended up being friends while I was in Chico. And it made me realize that, man, if I would have been myself more in that job, I probably would have lifted up not only myself, but everyone around me even more.
Yeah.
And I want to say one more thing about that, why that's important, because I really feel like that I probably had the opportunity, everything's divinely planned, of course, but I probably had the opportunity to be more advanced on my spiritual path and even more advanced in my, like, pursuing my own mission in life, like my new Earth mission. I probably had that timeline open up to me earlier if I had done that. Because when I look back on it, I realized, like, oh, if I would have just totally owned up to who I was and what I was doing and just got other people interested and lit up and didn't care what other people were thinking about it. Like, I see that timeline, and I'm glad that I'm where I am now, but I just, I want to speak to those people who are out there right now. Like, it's available to you now.
Exactly.
You know?
Yes. Yeah. The time is now. And this holding back because of fear is just 100% baloney. And if your higher self could talk to you or scream at you, they would be telling you exactly that. There is no reason to hold back your light. There are people that are waiting for you to shine so that they can benefit. And when you're not doing it, you're not doing the mission that you came here to do. And so it's so incredibly important to just be ourselves, because we never know. We can never assume what someone is going to think or feel or how they're going to behave. I mean, I'm guilty of this just last week. I went into a little conference with all my kids' teachers. There's a whole group of there's like 5 different teachers. And they asked me, well, what do you do? And I was like, oh, this is kind of tough to answer in this environment, but I do, I told them a little bit, and they were all super interested. And of course I didn't have time to get into it because it was a quick meeting, but still, I was surprised that they took it the way they did. I think that people are way more open now and interested. And so back in the day, maybe it was a little bit more scary, but now it's not as scary as it used to be. So that's now an old program too that we can release. Yeah,
it's seeping itself. I mean, not only are people discovering it on their own because it's becoming more quote unquote mainstream,
right,
but it's like seeping into the collective the conscious, or unconscious, whatever you want to call it, like the collective mind. Essentially, it's seeping into that on the quantum level, and so people are just more ripe to receive it.
Yep.
And I want to encourage those who are listening. And actually, I want to ask you a quick question because I know that we're almost done. So if you were to give a few symptoms, what are the main symptoms that you come across when you're doing your sessions with people and they are having symptoms and their higher self says this is because you're not following your path right now? Like what are the main ones?
Pretty easy.
What are the main ones?
Yeah. So any foot, knee, leg problems, hip problems, anything that requires your movement forward, like you walking forward, you actually following your path, walking down that path, all of those muscles, joints, everything involved there is potentially affected. Sometimes it could just be the toe or the foot, or it's just the knee, or it's just the hip, or it's the whole damn leg. It just depends on how stubborn you are. Yeah. Or if you're really not listening, then that will move on to other places in the body.
Yeah.
Because if you're carrying a whole lot of weight and like that's the reason why you're holding yourself back too, like you're afraid that the people in your life aren't going to be accepting, and then you're also worried about doing everything for everybody else at the same time, then you're carrying all this weight and now you got your back and your neck involved too.
Yes.
So,
and I see in the clients I work with, I think the energetic components that I see are like the energy being stuck in kind of the lower energy centers, you know, the power centers, and, you know, coming out as, or whatever, like emotional outbursts like that might not feel resonant with them. And so I just think that's really interesting and just something to be aware of for those who are listening. I do want to take this opportunity just to say to everyone that we need you right now more than ever. And I am personally feeling so fired up about this recently, and the energies just feel really present right now for the support that's available. I know that both you and I have been encountering our people and building these grids and these different offerings and programs. So I'd like to share about the things that I'm offering, the things that you're offering, that we're offering together, just to give an opportunity for this audience if they're seeking some support. So I have a couple things that I am now launching. I have a one-on-one program. I'm looking for 3 people right now for basically a 90-day mentorship, coaching intensive, whatever you might want to call it. And this is specifically geared at being able to overcome any of the challenges, fears, distortions, and anything that's causing a lack of clarity in one's life as to where they are at on their mission and how to get to the point where they are very focused, they have a clear vision on who they want to serve, how they want to serve them, and getting a roadmap forward on how to do that, leveraging today's structures and opportunities that are outside kind of the older paradigm. It's really a program meant to support new Earth Visionaries that are either kind of on their path already, that maybe they've done the paradigms, the modalities, maybe they've been working some healing modalities or something for a little while, but are feeling like there's more that is they're being called forward to, or those who are a little bit newer to their path and are just really wanting to discover their multidimensional superpowers and how to synthesize those into a path of service. I am also offering a masterclass that is kind of an introduction to this as well. And that's going to be next Thursday, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, Arizona time, where we're at next Thursday.
March 9th.
Yes.
Thursday, March 9th.
Yeah.
7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Okay.
And this is going to be kind of an intro and an overview of that. But I am actually really going to go into some practices that people can really start doing to self-analyze and self-propel them forward to this end.
Awesome.
So if you want to know about either one of those, you can reach out to me on social media. I think maybe it might just be the best way to do it right now, since I'm in a revamp with my website. So the social media is the letter B, The Way Shower, all one word, either on Instagram or Facebook, Be The Way Shower.
And we'll put the links in the comments below the show. In the show notes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And speaking of things and gatherings.
This is exciting.
It is exciting. So me and my colleagues, you know of them, Tracy Mahan and Sarah Breskman Cosme and Leah Ray, we are getting together to do another workshop, and we are lucky to have Mr. Brian the Way Shower come with us this time to offer his offerings. And this workshop is going to be a 3-day retreat type workshop in Sedona in April 21st through the 23rd. And you can go to my website under events to look for that, right? Is that where we put it, Brian?
Yeah, absolutely. We just got all this kind of launched today. We're just really excited about it. So yeah, you can go to DrErica.love, right?
And we'll put it in the comments too, or the notes, whatever it's called. You know, that's where it goes. That's where we'll put it.
Absolutely. And I just want to let everyone know out there that I'm really fired up about supporting you. I'm open to answering any questions too. You're welcome to reach out to me directly on social media, because that's kind of how I interact with my crowd right now. So if you just have any questions about it or want to know more about anything that I'm offering to support you, please don't hesitate to reach out. And I'm really honored and blessed and grateful to be able to support you all at this time. I'm excited to help out my P-Head fam and joining the crew of New Earth Visionaries to get this to the next level.
Yes, we all got to step on board, and I'm so glad that you have put all this together, because it's time. Like we said, it's totally time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as usual, I'm going to leave you all with this song for today. And actually, we're going to leave you with one of Brian's songs. Brian, what are we leaving them with?
Yeah, so I also have an Insight Timer account. I'm going to be releasing some more meditation, some music, different things there. You can check that. You can find me there under Way Shower, under Insight Timer, link in the comments or show notes too.
No,
and the song that we're going to play is called Gates of Lemuria. This is one of the first tracks that I ever that I have done. So it's kind of one of my first, rough ones. But
love it.
yeah, it's called.
That's one you picked.
Yeah, Gates of
Cool.
Lemuria. So I hope that you all enjoy. Blessings.
Love it. Thank you so much, and we love you all. Till next time.
Bye bye.
Zi Aqua Akungang Sumi He Wakwal Heshelama. Inye Jawa Yigan Yarashuma Aqua. Yiga Ha Jungwal Gigan Wal Kangshala. Kiji alemwa Jinnakali wa muwaz Janya uwaka ukwas kiam wa jin